and that's going to be an area growing very fast in the future.
I mean, Tableau, which went public, what, a year back, in a very crappy market globally, the IPO has been phenomenal. I mean, we do a bunch of work on Tableau. I personally write stuff on Tableau, and it's, laptop right here. But one thing I would like to quickly share, as again, as it applies to job applicants, or mid-level people looking for jobs in big data, is Hadoop. What the point you made is very good there. Hadoop is in the hype mode right now. It was an evolving technology. Now it's in the after it's out of the lab, so to say, out of Yahoo, and Facebook implemented it, and so on and so forth. Now it's at a point where it's in a hype mode. But the next level is real-time streaming and real-time analysis, real-time decisioning. And there are lots of business use cases where this is going to be required. Whether it's my tires going to be flat on my auto, or my refrigerator is cooler than it needs to be, or am I optimal in my consumption of utility or power in my home. Just think about it. There's lots of cases out there. Financial services, I work in that area. There's lots of cases out there. Real-time decisioning on what is the risk, and how much can I load, knowing the deposit behavior, for example. So that is an area where there are some evolving data platforms for real-time streaming and analysis of data coming from real-time streaming that are coming in. So Storm is, I think it's the University of Berkeley. Storm was put up by Twitter, and then there is something from Berkeley also. Is it the Shark or there's I'm forgetting, but there is something from University of Berkeley too coming. So any platforms of this kind, Web Action is, by the way, a Bay Area company that's doing a lot of work in real-time streaming. So Storm, equivalent Shark is a platform sitting on top of Storm. Anything that's got to do with real-time streaming and decisioning is the next wave. What Hadoop was maybe 3 years back, and they're still quite nascent. I mean, they just provide a framework. There's a lot of development that's happening in that area, so that it becomes easy to use those platforms. Today they're more like skeletons. You got to put a lot of flesh to the bones. But that is definitely an area if somebody wants to focus on. Because talking about Hadoop, the fact that you've got log files and you can do things with it, sometimes you end up yawning about that, because that's been a cliche example of that. But in reality, you get real-time data coming in. A patient walks in and says, I've got these symptoms, and you say, okay, I'm going to feed it in, I'm going to get an answer and tell you, potentially you have probability of 30% you have this, and 40% there, whatever. Right? So the use cases in real-time decisioning are very powerful, versus batch processing, which is essentially what Hadoop. Hadoop's coming with the new version, which is going to be more around real-time. The YARN is kind of in that direction. But whatever, Hadoop or Shark or Storm, that is definitely the next wave, and any skills that you acquire in that area are going to be extremely powerful. If you want to be a technologist, that's going to be a very powerful area.
And that's not data scientist, right? That's technology.
That's not technology. That's not.
So we did a recently we published a study with NASCOM on the analytics industry. They just come out with their HR study for here. Okay, so I'm just seeing the graph from there. Top 5 skills in demand from freshers by NASCOM members. From freshers, the #1 skill is data scientist. So, I mean, companies who are NASCOM members, they're saying from freshers, the #1 skill you want is data scientist. Where are you going to get such data scientist?
That animal doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist, right? And that's the #1. So when he says that, big data is a big tag word, big data devs, data scientists,
so get a job. A good proxy for that is a computer scientist.
Yeah.
What you really need
computer scientist, which set of skills?
So you need somebody who understands computer science and not just writing a SQL code.
Yeah. And after those come cloud, mobile,
one of the things that we noticed when we were, one of the surveys that we ran, the computer scientists, of every 100 students who enter computer sciences, they go in, they've selected computer sciences over engineering by choice. But what they are taught is a lot that is, they knock off a few elements of engineering, and they taught more or less the same thing in many of the colleges. When the when the student actually graduates, it's a very disillusioned student who says, "मैं तो finance कर देता हूँ." Probably this thing. Probably because they went in with a vision, but there was nothing at the end of it. Probably with data sciences and the evolution of data sciences as a very distinct field, this is what they probably wanted, and they can move towards.
Yeah,
I mean, just a thought.
I sort of agree. There is the question to be asked is the three types of people that you want to train. When you think of it from a say university perspective or institute perspective, and you have to decide who you want to train. You want to train the practitioner who's going to work within the IT department of, say, the government or a large company or some such company, and he's not really going to. He's going to do the formulation of the problem, do the project management, understand the terms, but he's not really going to get down to it. Then there is the IT developer who's really going to do the offshore or outsourced work for people.
Plumbing.
Right? And then there's the strategist or the architect and the scientist. And this today the data science is the hot area. I was going to say how does it all put together? I don't have to worry about the skills. I sort of understand how things are going to put together. I can simulate things. I know, I have a good gut feel. And you cannot build that out of college, the last piece. That piece, but that basic background in computer science is essential because it's very difficult to take somebody who doesn't have a basic computer science background. That person will need 10 years experience on the ground before he can acquire that capability, whereas computer science can do that in a few years.
And all three together is the big data domain?
All these, no, big data, that's the IT developer is the traditional IT developer.
Fine,
right?
fine.
And
But,
the IT, internal IT guy who does project management is traditional, right?
but the strategists that you're talking about, they ride the other two levels?
No, I think so. The other way,
three different things.
Yeah.
Three different. So there are three different career paths.
So if you have a program, say I'm designing an educational program, I have to know what am I designing. Today I have one blanket, big tech. I don't know what the guy is. He's good for me in part number 3. He's good for number 2. He's actually good for number 1. I don't know. Right.
actually, easy example is you go for a heart surgery. You have people who operate machines. You have some people who prepare the things, and there comes the guy who does the stuff. Now that does the stuff, the third guy is less than 2%. Or even less than 1%.
That's
You know, but that's that mass scale.
No, but that's only here. I think that's been the past education system.
right.
And the problem is now if that past education system doesn't change, which I think it is changing now because that 99% is essentially saying that I graduated out of computer science and I'm getting a job which is
Absolutely.
No, with a textile engineer can do just as well.
yeah.
Yes.
So
Right.
they are asking.
And it's our fault because we did that. We trained everybody in the country who was an engineer to become an IT engineer.
That's correct.
And we destroyed all kinds of engineering in the practice. So we share some of the blame as an industry.
So the guys from IIT's first year itself, they actually could put somebody who's got 10, 15 years and calls himself a data scientist to shame because they've got those, and I'm not generalizing it, but I've seen people who they have it. They've got mathematics, they've got statistics, they have the aptitude, and they can pick it up and write new stuff like anything else.
But they're not going to come and work for you.
Yes.
They're going to design the new stuff at Stanford or Google.
Yeah,
Right? So
all
you have
those
to be careful
yeah.
because that small number
Yeah.
that comes from IIT, they're the guys who build the new startups anyway.
So you need to build the skill not only in the IITs, but you need to take it down the rungs so that you have many more
Yeah,
who will work in every
the
organization,
So the
right?
industry has been spoiled by being able to get away with people who don't really know computer science.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And now we do need that. And we're not getting it from the IIT because they're an elite lot and they'll go elsewhere. Right?
I think depth is key here because again, exactly your point is valid, very valid. Is that it's not about just knowing Java or C or equivalents, which was relatively the easiest skill to acquire. Here you kind of again the context, and you have to get deep into it, and you have to have the patience and concentration power to kind of put 2 years of really strong effort in, smarts, whatever, to kind of build that skill out. It's not enough. We have an attitude of I just quickly learn a little bit of syntax on R and suddenly I can proclaim myself to be a